So welcome all. I don't know what number of community meetings we have been running so far, but this is yet another external secrets operator community meeting. We don't have anyone new here, so I think we can go to the usual agenda. Just a reminder that we do have a code of conduct, so if you're interested in joining in, please check it out. Having said that, we can go directly to our meeting notes. The first one that I have is regarding the CNCF sandbox application. There is going to be a TOC review on this Sunday, if I recall correctly. It's the 24th. I think the date's 24th, and this is a Sunday. And probably, likely, we should have a CNCF committee looking at external secrets operator and deciding if it should go sandbox or not. And if it shouldn't, what are the steps that we need to implement yet or do in order to be there? Just wanted to point that out. I don't think there is any actual, action items on us other than hope for the best. Just so for anyone listening this, you can be aware that this is going to happen this next week. So cheer for us, please. Next point, starting with the technical ones. This is a discussion that I wanted to have last community meeting, but we ended up with no time because of the push secret demonstration and code base, etc. They are kind of related. I will start with the first one, is the HashiVault AWS engine, the PR number 1211. So from what it seems, it is a pretty much standard PR to add a new feature to HashiVault to allow a new backend proposal related to AWS. My concern with that PR that made me switch a little bit to maybe considering yet another CRD specific for secret generation is that this provider call, it actually allows a lot of configuration to be placed, like how much should the token live or how should it be stored in order for the secret actually be generated and then be fetched by external secrets. So even if we can provide with the code, with the external secrets code, the ability to do this creation on the provider level, we wouldn't be really able to configure it afterwards if we wanted, or if any user wanted, without drastically changing how it would work under the hood. And this is a little bit not a good place to be, because it would impose changes to the get secret method in the provider. This will be kind of big and probably breaking. So it's not that it's not possible to do right now. I think what the code is, the PR currently open has, it's already working solution. However, I don't see a clear path on extending the feature to actually cover what the AWS, in this case, endpoint permits. And this is like copy paste for several other feature requests that we have for other endpoints. So I thought I might bring this up in the community meeting.
Yeah, I see this AWS engine just like any other API that can be used to fetch secrets. Like the generation part, I don't think is like too important. I don't really consider it to be like a generation thing. Well, it's kind of technically is, but it's just an API where you just pull in the secrets generated from HashiCorp Vault. Hi, Christian.
Hi.
Welcome.
It's the first time Jitsi. I've got no idea how this works, but it looks familiar.
You found the unmute button already, so.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. You found the unmute button, you're good to go.
Cool. Yeah, we're currently speaking about the HashiCorp Vault AWS engine, and yeah, we have a HackMD. Did you send it already?
That sound.
Yeah, I already sent.
Yeah, there's a chat. And I will send you a link to a HackMD. This is where
HackMD. I always forget about this. This is so nice. Yeah,
that's cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
and we're currently talking about the AWS engine, how we want to integrate it. It's kind of related to the secret generation feature that you're proposing. Yeah. So regarding AWS engine, I do not really see it as like a secrets generation engine, more or less. It's just an API where you can just say, okay, give me credentials to some particular AWS account. You have like some configuration knobs, sure, like the lease duration and other kind of other stuff like that. But I think this can still be configured within the secret store CRD. And I don't really see, because it doesn't really provide functionality to generate like a generic secret.
Yeah.
Like
for this AWS engine, I agree with you. But if we think for the next one, if we think for Azure Key Vault certificate generation, not import, and HashiVault PKI engine,
yeah,
it is kind of pointless if you cannot configure these parameters, right?
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It also doesn't make sense to put on the secret store because it's like per certificate configuration.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it's kind of hard to kind of fumble that into the external secrets resource. It's kind of tough. I don't know, because we don't have like some sort of like a generic object that where you can just define some generic key value pairs that are passed down to the provider. I think that would be something that you would need to make that happen, but it's ugly and it's yeah, kind of generic, and I don't really think that kind of really fits with the external secrets CRD.
So we are on the same step for this one, the same page. The only thing that I guess I differ is that since the PKI interface on HashiVault is kind of similar to the AWS engine, both of them are kind of like the same purpose on HashiVault. I am more prone to say that AWS one, even though it's simple and with no configuration, should probably be on this other resource where the PKI stuff would also be, because it would enable to configure it. Since we're here, the thing is about configuration, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to draw a line where it's like only external secrets and when we need a proper CRD to manage it. Although, even if it is a CRD change to the external secret resource, God no, it's like it would still be possible. But the point is that I am not that comfortable of just having it like that as of right now, just because it wouldn't extend to the other feature requests that we have. So even if we go through what is proposed on HashiVault, we're not really on AWS engine, we're not really solving anything, we're just delaying it because the next feature request is already there. You see what I mean?
So you're saying that we need like a different CRD for these kinds of use cases?
Not necessarily a different CRD, but we need to cover it on a CRD, even if it's like, yeah, let's compromise and have a generic object. But that's the thing that I'm pointing here, because right now external secrets resource does not allow specific provider configuration, right? So that's the thing that we have. And this can actually be the change to the external secret. We can have like a provider specific field and just have it configurable as we have for the secret store that is already in place. And make that aware to the provider.
Yeah. So should we just maybe just make a stop here with that provider and say like, okay, we first got to deal with that particular problem and solve it like generically for all the other providers, because that then would allow us implementing all the other providers that are coming up in the future, especially for HashiCorp Vault, because it provides so many different secret backends that you can define. I guess makes sense. Yeah, cool. Let's try to fix that. I guess we need a design document for that as well to get feedback and see what the best approach is in that regard. Cool.
And On to the next point. Thanks, Christian, for joining. I think this is the one that you're mainly here. Thanks a lot for joining. Unfortunately, Lucas couldn't be here.
Yeah.
It is about the proposal draft for secrets generation. So secrets generation during the project's, I don't know, very beginning moments of life, the very early years, it was descoped as we didn't really want to do that. But afterwards, when we have external secrets more mature, we came to think that the whole project is about handling secrets, right? So handling secrets, we should be able to pull them, to push them, and even to generate them. So that came back onto the game. And with this proposal, it's kind of similar to the arguments that we're making here. What I'm currently with there is this expression in Portuguese that is like having a flea over the ear. That is like some concerns. Is that the generator block? Yeah, it's a stupid expression, but I like to share stupid knowledge is always fun. The concern that I have is that the generator block would be a little bit coupled to a provider, right? For instance, if you want to generate secret bound to another provider, or this feature is really limited to Kubernetes secrets, and we literally generate the secret populated before, which doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's more like it's more about getting. So at least in our heads, it was more about getting the secret generated into whatever your trust store is, and then how to get it out is a different story. So it's not about generating a secret into Kubernetes, because we are actually also not too satisfied with getting the secrets stored in Kubernetes. Ideally, we would want to have them like transient, only be mounted or whatever, any kind of that mechanism. That creates a runtime dependency to your secret store, like Vault. But okay, that's something you have to decide for yourself. But in that sense, I would really say this should be about generating a secret and storing it in the trust store. Ideally, maybe even generating it in the trust store if that is possible, but I don't know. So in that sense, I can follow the argumentation to say that that it probably makes sense to turn this into a CAD of its own. So to make it independent of a specific, or to make it more flexible.
Yeah, that's what we've had in mind. I actually didn't read your proposal yet. I didn't have the time to do that, but I think I quickly scrolled over it. So yeah, I guess we have like the external secrets resource that is responsible to pull secrets into Kubernetes. Then we have like the push secret resource, which is coming up in the next couple of months, that allows like pushing secrets to a secret store provider. And then the third resource, which then can be used in combination with a push secret resource, like a generate secret, it's just called that for now, that allows you to generate a secret, maybe in Kubernetes, and then push it to the provider. Maybe we can embed that resource also in the push secret. But I guess it's like one good thing that to keep in mind is that we should leverage the provider's functionality to generate secrets in a secure manner, because I guess we don't really want to deal with that. If a provider offers functionality to store or to generate secrets on the server side, so we don't even see them, that would be like one important requirement that we should take into account.
Yeah, what we had was that we that we saw in our implementation that it's important to have the same set of generators supported every time. So that we have like strings, we have integers, we have byte, we have certificates supported, because that was basically what came up from the teams. So in that sense, we would have to ensure that every provider then supports all these types if we wanted to really abstract it away and make it generic. Otherwise, I think you land in like compatibility hell, where you say, okay, can I use this with that provider? Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that is actually, regarding compatibility of the secret generated, we can always use the wildcard that in this whole, I don't know, security landscape that we have, and base64 encode them, right? So it's compatible everywhere. But yeah, it would still be kind of a workaround.
Yeah, the nice thing with our CRD is I think that people can, from the vault secret, it's our CRD type and our vault operator, bad name, but naming is hard, that people can, from looking at it, see that what kind of certificate or what kind of secret they have in a given field, other than just. And also, that's the other thing I'm not too sure about, is that by having it all in one CRD manifest resource, the lifetime guarantee is probably simpler. As otherwise you have this race condition of I know I need to generate something, but at the same time I'm also trying to get this already, and if I deploy them at the same time, which would be likely. So that's also a consideration.
Yeah, this is actually the issue, the main root cause that started this whole discussion in the first PR that we were discussing, the HashiVault AWS engine, was that it was hard to control the lease time. Every time the external secrets would pull, it would generate a new key, and hence will generate a different secret, which was a little bit weird. So the whole issue started, how do we control the lease time? And then we just realized there are a lot of things that we could also control, and that the current interface that we have for the external secret is really not appropriate for that. So that was the initial discussion. This whole session here is basically about secret generation, I would say. So before we continue, hello, Daniel. Hello, Alex. Alex, I haven't known you before, so nice to meet you. I just put the HackMD where the notes for the community meetings that we have are. So feel free to add your own stuff if you have them. Cool.
Yeah, Alex is in my team. He's also an
awesome
old colleague of
Moritz.
Moritz. So
that's cool. That's cool.
yeah,
Thanks.
we're bringing the band back together. That's
Yeah,
the whole.
I'm just stumbling to this Jitsi, but yeah.
Don't we all? Cool. So regarding the whole secrets generation, I think what we can probably do is use the proposal draft and come up with a CRD that can, in my view, ideally cover these scenarios that we have for HashiVault specific engines that actually generate secrets in there. After we draft that, I think we can then consider efforts merging with the push secret feature, because even if the secret already exists in Kubernetes, this whole configuration thing that we're speaking is also applicable there. So even if I have already the secret and I want to put somewhere, I might be able to configure some parameters in this write operation, such as encryption configuration, rotation policies, expiry, etc., etc., etc. So since we already need to think of provider-specific configuration in the push secret resource, after we draft that, I really think we should draft that as a separate resource. We can see if it actually makes sense to join them or not. I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. Yeah, then we just have to go through this design process, I guess, and figure it out.
Yeah, a little bit, I think. Going for the next point that we have in our agenda, it is regarding ECR, GCR, ACR provider.
Yeah, that's from me.
Wait, before that, I have another call, so I have to jump out anyways in like 2 minutes. So thanks, and then let's proceed with the proposal, okay?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Thanks a lot for your presence. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. So,
yeah, so the ECR, GCR, ACR thingy is from me. So a colleague of mine, well, we do some multi-cloud stuff, and we need short-lived credentials to access the cloud provider specific container registries, so we can pull images from there. And we need like some way to generate these credentials. So these are just simple basic auth credentials. And yeah, we were thinking about adding that or contributing that to external secrets. And I just wanted to, just throw that idea here in that round and see if what do you think? Do you agree with that or not? With that fit? I guess it's kind of similar with the HashiCorp Vault AWS provider or engine. It just generates credentials on the cloud provider side, which have like some lease time of about an hour or 2 or 4 or whatever, and then they can be reused from other components. In our use case, it's specifically Flux because we use like the OCI OCI feature in the source controller, and we pull Helm charts and so on from there. So we have to supply it with credentials in order to pull them from there. So yeah, tell me what you think.
I think it's, I'm not sure how specifically the integration for generating tokens work, but I think accidentally we really did a session full of secret generation. I believe the path forward is kind of the same, just to be like in the same standard. The thing that we need to crack on the CRD level before we start to implement, we can use the same approach as the push secret, like have like an experimental secret generator for now. What we can probably do is just draft out how would the secret generator interface look like, how that method would look like, in a way that would also allow, just like we have the secret store types, like a provider field, where we can specify a provider configuration. Something like that we can have, like maybe even called provider configuration field, where we can enable that provider by provider and just consume it on whatever the method we add to the provider block. Did I make sense here? Because that's the part that makes me worried.
The provider configuration, basically.
That's the part that is hard. The rest is kind of straightforward, but then to actually make a thing that is scalable, it comes to how to configure different providers.
Yeah. Yeah, I already thought about like how we can sort of fumble that into the secret store custom resource, and this is like really hard because right now we support, like for AWS, we support like 2 different services, like a secrets manager and a parameter store. And for Vault, we already like adding another service on that end, and this whole like provider YAML tree is kind of getting out of hand, and I feel like that we should split that up into maybe sort of how Crossplane does that, into like specific CRDs. So we have like one CRD, let's call like AWS Secrets Manager, maybe one CRD AWS Parameter Store, one for AWS ECR, Vault, KV engine, Vault, AWS engine, and stuff like that. So we can make this scalable, and that allows us to version the provider specific fields independently of each other, which is like another good thing that we have. But the whole implementation will be, this will be a lot of effort to split that. Yeah.
I completely agree with you with the whole separating providers into CRDs. I was actually thinking about that when we started doing the conversion webhook. Like, why are we not doing that, right? Although it really adds complexity. Like in terms of CRDs installed, we go from 4 to 20, maybe more. So yeah. But the thing that I'm referring to, the ECR, GCR, ACR specifically here, do we need to configure them per secret generator?
No, you actually have just one secret store that gives you access to the AWS API, like just the authentication part. And I think that is basically it.
But I mean, would one user want to have like a short-term lived credentials and another user have a long-term lived credentials, and we need to support them both? The thing that I wouldn't like is that we needed to create 2 secret stores for that, bound to the same credentials. And the thing that is really changing the secret stores is the underneath configuration.
Yeah, you probably don't need multiple of those, but maybe you need like 2 or so. I don't know, because like potentially you would need like one pool secret per namespace. So you would have like one secret store, which is one cluster secret store, which is shared among different namespaces that allows the namespace to access ECR, whatever. But I don't really see that you have like another different configuration that maybe changes the lease time or what have you. I don't really see that. But I guess there are use cases where you potentially want to limit access to not only one specific registry, but also like one subpath of a registry. Just like how Harbor implements like multi-tenancy under the hood, where you have like multiple, I'm sure they called it maybe like groups or something like that. Just one URI segment within the registry path. And you provide credentials per path. And this would map to a namespace within Kubernetes. So you have like multiple namespaces, which each have only access to their own space within Harbor. So in that case, you would need multiple secret stores. But since the authentication is on a per namespace level anyways,
you kind of would already need.
Yeah, you would need that, but they are basically all the same, but they refer to a different secret because it's in a different namespace. So I guess this is just a question of automation in that kind, because you don't have like really like a lot of options that you want to have. Like maybe read-only access, read-write access. These are maybe some things that you want to configure, but usually that's like not a lot of stuff that you want to configure. So it's not too many secret stores that you would need in a cluster.
The other thing that I want to ask, this is the last one because we're kind of running out of time.
Yeah.
Regarding how this will be implemented when we think about external secrets. On each external secrets reconcile loop, it will probably generate a new set of credentials, right?
Yeah, basically. Or if we would have this metadata thingy that's currently in flight in the AWS engine PR, if we're able to store metadata on a per secret level, then we can store the lease ID there, and then we don't have to recreate the secrets each and every time, but then we can just check the lease and see if we have to renew it or not. And I think this would be one thing that's definitely one thing that we need for that feature.
Yeah, so that's why the metadata appeared. Yeah. How are you inclined towards developing it within the external secrets resource versus within the secret generator yet to come resource?
I guess we need that feature now.
Quite fast.
yeah, quite fast.
Yeah, I imagine that. I think it's fine if you go with the external secrets for now. This will imply to accept the AWS engine as well, right? Because it's the same principle. I just wanted to see if there is something better that we can come up in the long term. For instance, this secret generator thing. If there is a way we can migrate to there and not have this as like the ugly part that doesn't make sense in the code base when we have the other part that does exactly the same thing with more features, if we happen to go that direction and get it right. There are a lot of ifs.
Yeah, I'm presently fine with that AWS engine PR. I think that's just the question, like how we're going to structure the secret store, whether we refactor it slightly. I just put it in the comment, and maybe I can just put a link here in the chat. So either we refactor it so that we have like one YAML node for each HashiCorp Vault backend. So we have like one field or one object below the Vault provider that allows configuration of the KV engine, and another one for the AWS engine. And on the very same level, we have like the authentication related stuff, like which service account to use, app role, etc., and the CA bundle and CA provider stuff, which is shared among the different the different engines. I guess that would work for now, but I guess like in the long term, we definitely need to factor that out into its own CRD.
And the thing that I wanted to check is how do we go for, considering that we did all of that, how likely are we to actually drop the feature that we're developing right now in order to have the specific one? Would that be an okay path?
Sorry, what feature do you want to drop?
Let's assume that we created the whole secret store configuration. I kind of came up with some simple designs as well that would allow external secrets resource to handle provider configuration and quite scalable for a while. Then we decide that generation, even if it is provider-based, goes through its own CRD. How do we... The thing is, when we take the decision of putting that onto external secrets resource, we're kind of committing that it's going to rest on the external secrets resource, right?
You're concerned about the lease ID field?
No.
Or which one?
I am concerned about the changes that we will need to the secret store. And to the external secrets, probably, because I think... Let's start by that, because now it's getting too philosophical. I think the action item that we can have right now is come up with some quick designs to allow external secrets to generate secrets within the provider, which is Hash Vault AWS engine. We can even use that PR. If we all agree that one of these designs should be enough for the whole secret generation, we can eventually even take out the draft as a whole. If we think we can just change it enough, at least for generation within the provider, right? No matter if it is what kind of credentials it is. If we do not see it as like a very good solution and rather a workaround, then I would ask to come back to the next community meeting and discuss it a little bit more, what can be the paths that we have. Because in my mind, all the designs that I come to think of, if we don't agree they are good enough, it is going to be tricky to delete them if we implement them. That's my next concern for the next meeting, okay?
Yeah, true. We don't want to... Yeah, we don't want to go down like the wrong road because we cannot really come back, or at least it's really hard to come back. So we need to make like the right decision.
Exactly. So let's start with some quick design possibilities and thinking if that's enough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then we just put that AWS engine PR on hold and say like, okay, we're concerned of creating Frankenstein, and we gotta make sure to create some a design first to ensure that we cover all the in-provider generation.
I think we shouldn't even necessarily hold the PR. We can probably just come up with some quick designs in the PR itself. Okay. Just to see if it would be enough for this case. And if we could eventually extend it up to the point, for instance, Hash Vault PKI engine. That's my goal. If we think there is a design that can handle with certificate generation, then I'm fine. Like,
yeah, then it's generic enough. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, but I'm just wondering. So, how do we best organize that? Because like I guess like a PR is kind of hard. Or should we have like multiple PRs so we propose like different approaches? Because we cannot. It's kind of hard to discuss it within an existing PR because like there's too much context and like specific stuff around.
Yeah, when I set quick design possibilities, I was thinking like drafting out some YAML.
Yeah.
And see if things would work. So it wouldn't really be that much of an effort. We can even probably make like an extra community meeting next week if you want, to just summarize all these design possibilities, what we think would work, any problems that we see. So we don't have to wait the whole 2 weeks to go back to it.
Yeah, we can do that. Oh wait, next week is kind of tough for me. I probably cannot attend.
It doesn't necessarily need to be in the same time, right?
Yeah.
But if it's tough, we can just take it to the next discussion.
Yeah, cool. So then let's
And of
just open up
course-
PR and discuss it there. And yeah,
Yes.
see what designs will come up and see how they compare and how they scale in the future.
That works for me.
Awesome.
I need to ask then, you were here about the whole hash vault engine PKI, right?
I'm not necessarily here for that. I was just poking in, saying hey.
Hey, long time no see. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Been real busy.
Yeah, aren't we all? Unfortunately, more than I wanted.
Yeah, I'm working on finding some time to draft a proposal for that one. For the PKI engine. It was just something that we had hit that we have a custom script for that would tie real nicely into external secrets, since that's what we're using it for anyway. But not necessarily here for that.
Cool, awesome. That's even cooler. You're actually just being around. I like it more. So thank you all for your presence. I'm going to stop the recording now. See you next community meeting. If we happen to have another one interim, we get to put it on the YouTube channel so you can follow up. And we also will put in Kubernetes Slack channel, hashtag external secrets. You know the drill. See ya.
See you, everybody.
Thanks. See ya.